Have you ever noticed that your ideal self is basically that imaginary version of you who lives rent-free in your head and somehow has their entire life together? Like, they wake up early, drink water voluntarily, finish tasks on time, and probably have a favorite pen. Meanwhile, the current you is out here arguing with the alarm clock like it owes you money. But here's the weird part. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not missing some magical discipline gene. You're just following a system you never consciously chose. And the moment you see how simple it is to swap that system, you'll realize becoming your ideal self isn't hard. It's embarrassingly doable. Let me guess, you've tried becoming a better version of yourself at least 57 times this year alone. You wake up one random morning feeling dramatically inspired for no reason, like you're in the opening scene of a motivational movie. You think, today, everything changes. You sip water like you're cleansing your soul. You make a to-do list with Olympic-level ambition, and for a solid hour you genuinely believe you're unstoppable. And then, boom, life taps you on the shoulder like, relax, hero. Your brain suddenly decides that reorganizing your apps or watching productivity videos about productivity is somehow the same as doing actual work. Spoiler, it's not. Or maybe you've tried the hardcore approach. You follow people online who wake up at 4 a.m., run 18 miles, meditate on a mountaintop, journal in 6 different notebooks, and read 3 books before breakfast. Meanwhile, you're over here like, let me just try to get out of bed without checking my phone like a possessed gremlin. But the funniest part? You want to change. You imagine this smoother, sharper, more confident version of you. The one who's calm in chaos. The one who doesn't spiral for 3 hours after sending a text. The one who actually follows through on tasks, on goals, on promises to themselves. Yet somehow, between intention and action, something glitches. You know what to do, but doing it feels like wading through emotional mud. And you start thinking, what is wrong with me? Why can't I be consistent? Why is everyone else leveling up while I'm stuck in loading mode? Trust me, you're not broken. You're not behind. You're not missing discipline. You just haven't been shown the right framework. And once you hear it, everything you've been struggling with suddenly makes sense. Here's where almost everyone fumbles the whole become your ideal self mission, and honestly, it's kind of hilarious once you see it. Most people try to transform their life the same way they clean their room, suddenly, aggressively, and only when they're having an emotional breakdown. It's like one random Tuesday you decide, that's it, I'm done. New me starting now. And you go full makeover mode. New routines, new apps, new notebooks, new mindset, new everything. You basically try to download a whole personality update overnight. Except, humans aren't iPhones. You can't just click install new self and wake up enlightened. But we try to. We say things like, from tomorrow, I'll wake up early every day. From now on, I will eat clean. Starting today, I will work out consistently. And for about, let's be generous, 6 hours, we actually do it. Then the old system kicks in. The real you shows up like, okay, relax, Gandhi. Sit down. Another classic mistake? Trying to add 20 new habits at once. Wake up early. Drink more water. Stop scrolling. Start journaling. Read daily. Work out. Meditate. Learn a new skill. Be positive. Fix posture. Heal childhood trauma. Start a side hustle. Eat vegetables on purpose. Bro, calm down. You're not building a robot. You're trying to be a functional human. And the best, or worst, part. People copy habits that don't even fit their personality. Like you see a billionaire CEO taking cold showers, and suddenly you're standing in freezing water questioning every life choice. Or you watch some monk talk about sitting in silence for 2 hours, and you're like, yeah, I can do that. Even though you can't sit still long enough for your rice to finish microwaving. But the most dangerous mistake? Waiting for motivation. Motivation is the friend who texts on my way while they're literally still in the shower. Completely unreliable. All these mistakes come from the same root problem. People focus on actions, not identity. They try to force new behaviors onto an old self-image. That's like trying to install Windows on a toaster. It's not going to run. Once you shift identity first, everything else becomes simple. Here's the thing nobody actually admits. When you say you want to become your ideal self, you're not chasing habits or routines. You're chasing a feeling, a way of existing, a sense of finally being in control instead of constantly playing catch-up with life like it's a treadmill set just one speed too fast. You don't want to meditate, you want peace. You don't want discipline, you want self-respect. You don't want productivity, you want freedom from that constant background anxiety whispering. You should be doing more. Your ideal self isn't about perfection, it's about ease, confidence, clarity, that internal quiet where you trust yourself instead of negotiating every tiny decision. At its core, the desire to upgrade is emotional. You want to feel like someone who can handle life, not someone overwhelmed by it. Once you understand that, the whole framework finally makes sense. All right, here's where everything finally clicks. Because becoming your ideal self is not about grinding harder, waking up earlier, or transforming your life into a boot camp. It's about something much simpler and way more effective. Identity, behavior, results. Not the other way around. Most people start with results. I want better grades. I want a better body. I want more money. Then they jump to behaviors. I'll study more, work out more, hustle harder. But because the identity underneath hasn't changed, the behaviors don't stick. It's like trying to tape new habits onto an outdated operating system. You can do it for a while, but eventually, your old identity is like, so, we going back to our usual nonsense or what? This is why the framework starts with identity. And the cool part? There are only 4 steps you need. Define, delete, design, become. Let's break them down in the most friend-explaining at 2 a.m. way possible. Step 1. Define. Create a clear picture of your ideal self. This step is honestly fun. If you've ever played a video game where you build your own character, you already understand it. Most people define their ideal self like this. I want to be successful. I want to be confident. I want to be productive. Bro, that's not a definition. That's a horoscope. You need clarity so sharp it feels like you're stalking your future self. Ask yourself, if I met the ideal version of me today, how would I describe them? Be specific about identity, not achievements. Say things like, I'm someone who keeps small promises to myself. I'm someone who works calmly instead of panicking. I'm someone who finishes what I start. I'm someone who chooses progress over perfection. Notice something? None of these are about goals. They're about who you are while you pursue goals. That's the secret. Your ideal self isn't a checklist, it's a vibe, a personality, a mental operating system. And once you define that clearly, everything else becomes easier. Step 2. Delete. Remove what the old you would do. This is where the magic happens. Most self-improvement advice is like, add this habit, add that habit, add another habit, add 7 more habits. And suddenly your daily routine looks like the schedule of a monk who also happens to be a Navy SEAL. But real transformation? It usually starts by removing things. If you want to change who you are, the fastest method is to stop doing the stuff the old you always does. Ask yourself, what are the top 2 to 3 behaviors the old me repeats that keep me stuck? Maybe you scroll when stressed. Start things, but don't finish. Sleep way too late. Procrastinate until panic mode. Say yes to everything. Avoid difficult conversations. Wait for motivation. Go for the easiest option every time. Pick 2. Just 2. Then delete them. Not perfectly. Not forever. Just enough to break the pattern. Because every time you stop doing something old you always does, your brain starts to disconnect from that version. Identity isn't built by adding new behaviors. It's built by letting old ones die. Step 3. Design. Build systems that make you win automatically. Once you stop doing what keeps old you alive, you're ready for systems, aka the cheat codes of life. A system is not a tight schedule or complicated routine. It's simply a tiny rule that makes your desired behavior easier than your old behavior. Examples. Phone stays out of reach during deep work. I set tomorrow's priorities in 3 minutes before bed. If it takes less than 2 minutes, I do it now. I study for 5 minutes before checking notifications. Notice how simple they are? That's why they work. Systems exist so you don't rely on willpower, because willpower is basically the Bluetooth of the human brain. It works randomly, disconnects for no reason, and drains battery like crazy. When you design your environment, routine, and cues in a way that supports your ideal identity, everything becomes smoother. Your ideal self isn't disciplined because they're superhuman. They just use systems that make discipline unnecessary. Step 4. Become. Micro-actions that rewire identity. This step is where real transformation happens. You do not become your ideal self by making massive moves. You become them by acting like them in tiny, boring, everyday moments. Identity shifts through repetition, not intensity. Whenever you're about to make a decision, ask, what would my ideal self do for the next 60 seconds? Not the next year, not the whole day, just the next minute. Say your ideal self is consistent. Then write one paragraph. Say your ideal self is healthy. Drink one glass of water. Say your ideal self is organized. Clear one small area of clutter. Say your ideal self doesn't procrastinate. Open the assignment. Just open it. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to cast votes, tiny micro votes, for your new identity. Over time, those votes accumulate. Your brain notices the pattern. And suddenly, the identity feels real. Becoming your ideal self is not dramatic. It's subtle. It's quiet. It's tiny decisions that eventually make the old version of you impossible to return to. The big truth behind the framework. You're not failing because you lack discipline. You're failing because you're trying to build new behaviors on top of an old identity. But when you redefine the identity, remove the old patterns, set up systems, and act in micro moments, your brain updates itself automatically. And that's when the shift happens. That's when you stop trying to be your ideal self. And you simply are them. Imagine this. It's a normal weekday evening. You've told yourself all day, tonight I'm going to start that assignment. No excuses. You even feel a little proud, motivated, determined, borderline unstoppable. You get home, put your bag down, open your laptop, and then your phone lights up with one notification. Just one. And your brain is like, let's check it real quick. Very quick. Ultra quick. 3 seconds later, you wake up in a digital black hole 47 minutes deep, watching a video titled Top 10 Animals Who Plot Revenge. You're confused. You're entertained. You're slightly scared of ducks. Then guilt kicks in. You slam the phone down dramatically like you're breaking up with it. Okay, fine. Focus time. You open the assignment. The page loads. You stare at it like it personally betrayed you. Suddenly, you feel every symptom known to mankind. Hunger, thirst, tiredness, a sudden desire to clean your entire room, the need to check the weather for absolutely no reason. Basically everything except the desire to start the work. This is where old you usually loses. They would say, I'll do it later, and then carry the stress like emotional luggage for the next 2 days. But today, something different happens. You remember the framework. You ask one simple question. What would my ideal self do for the next 60 seconds? Not the whole assignment. Not a chapter. Not a big study session. Just the next minute. So you take a breath. You close the unnecessary tabs. You set a 1-minute timer. And you just write the first sentence. It's not perfect. It doesn't have to be. But it exists. And in that tiny moment, barely 60 seconds, you feel something unfamiliar. Momentum. The page doesn't look as scary anymore. Your brain relaxes. You think, okay, I can write another minute. 5 minutes pass. Then 10. You're not in flow state or anything dramatic. Just moving, quietly, steadily, in the direction your ideal self would. And for the first time, you realize the truth. The difference between old you and ideal you isn't motivation. It's micro-actions, tiny choices, small wins that stack up until you accidentally become the person you always imagined. All right, so now that the idea is clear, let's make it super practical. Something you can actually use tonight, like literally after this video. No magical morning routine. Number 4 a.m. nonsense. No, cut out every weakness from your life, dramatic plan. Just clean, simple steps. Step 1. Create a 60-second version of your ideal self. Don't write a whole personality remake. Just ask, if ideal me had only 1 minute, what would they do? A 1-minute stretch. A 1-minute cleanup. A 1-minute reading session. This kills procrastination because it removes the emotional drama. Tiny actions equals tiny resistance. Step 2. Script your environment to make the good thing the easy thing. People think discipline is about willpower. Nope. Discipline is 80% environment, 20% ego. Put your book on your pillow. Keep water on your desk. Put your gym shoes next to your bed like they're judging you. Make good decisions automatic by making them visible. Step 3. Track identity, not tasks. Instead of checking boxes like a productivity robot, track identity shifts. I acted like a focused person today. I made one decision ideal me would have made. That's it. Identity tracking keeps momentum alive even when you don't do everything perfectly. Step 4. Build a 2-rule safety net. Rule number 1. Never skip twice. Rule number 2. If you break rule number 1, you must do a 60-second recovery action. This prevents spirals, the number 1 enemy of transformation. Step 5. Celebrate micro wins. Yes, even the tiny ones. Your brain responds to reward, not pressure. So when you follow through, even for 1 minute, acknowledge it. Mini celebration. A head nod. And nice to yourself. This builds emotional glue that keeps habits sticking. That's the whole guide. Tiny actions, environment support, identity tracking, built-in safety nets, and mini celebrations. Simple, human, actually doable. Here's a fun little brain hack that sounds silly at first, but actually works ridiculously well. I call it the Future Me postcard. Here's how it works. Every time you're about to slip into old habits, scrolling, procrastinating, abandoning your goals like they're a group project, you pause for 3 seconds and imagine your ideal self sending you a postcard from the future. Not a dramatic, motivational speech. Not a Hollywood monologue. Just a short, friendly, slightly sarcastic message like, "Hey, don't make me look bad. Future you." Or, "Yo, this tiny moment matters more than you think." Just do the 60-second version. Trust me, this tiny visualization does 2 amazing things. 1. It creates distance between you and your impulse. 2. It activates identity instead of guilt. Your brain suddenly sees 2 paths, one that your old self would take, and one that future you is cheering for. And because the message is playful, not guilt-heavy, you actually listen to it. You don't rebel. You don't freeze. You just move. The Future Me postcard becomes a shortcut to identity-based action. A quick internal nudge. A micro reminder that the person you're becoming is built one tiny decision at a time. Use it once today, you'll be shocked how well it sticks. So here's the truth. Becoming your ideal self isn't about massive overhauls or turning into some ultra-productive superhero. It's about tiny, consistent choices that slowly shift who you believe you are. 1 minute of action. One identity-based decision. One moment where you choose the future version of you instead of the familiar old pattern. And the best part? You don't need perfection. You just need momentum, small, friendly nudges in the right direction. If you start applying even one part of this framework today, you'll notice it. Not dramatically at first, but subtly. Your days will feel lighter, your mind clearer, your confidence stronger. The ideal version of you won't feel so far away. And if this video helped you, if it made you think, yeah, that actually makes sense, then stick around. Subscribe or watch another video. Not for me, but for the version of you that's already on the way. You got this. Really, just keep moving.